to Miss Grotius History Corner as we begin talking about the conquistadors or explorers that came to early Florida and where all this kind of took place. Now, even though he's in Florida, Christopher Columbus is known for discovering the Americas from the European perspective. At the time, Native Americans were living in America for thousands of years, where they crossed through the Bering Strait before or during one of the ice ages and had been established there a long time. Europeans didn't see that as much of a settlement, and they came over to take over. So Christopher Columbus sailing from Italy. His whole purpose was actually to find trade here in India. He thought if he sailed this way, west, would come across here, and he would land into India, which would establish trading where they were trying to get spices and other things. Nobody knew about all this land over here in North and South America until he crashes right into the Bahama area. At that point, now Europe is aware that these countries are there and kind of sets out where they're trying to establish who's going to run them, who's going to own these lands. So we have Spain and France, our front runners who are coming to establish this area. England, the United Kingdom, they come about 100 years later trying to also establish. When we think about the languages that exist over in this area, now the heritage of that, the cultures of that. It comes and first establishes into the Florida area, later into islands, Mexico, South America. England comes over into the eastern coast of the United States. Here, about in the 1520s, they hold that area for about 200 years until the colonists there were like, we don't want to be ruled by England anymore. The colonists go into the Revolutionary War in 1776, where they established independence, the Revolutionary War, would become the United States of America. During this time, France is also different areas in the colonies in here. If you think about the country of Quebec and Canada, that is why primarily the language there is still spoken French. If you go to areas such as Louisiana, there's a lot of French culture and heritage there. And all of this is left over from the attempts to conquer and colonize the areas. That's why there's a lot of Spanish influence down in Florida and below. So there's Christopher Columbus in the beginning of the conquistadors. Now the explorers are coming for three major reasons: God, glory, and gold. They wanted to establish their religion. They wanted to claim the area for the country, power, glory, and also to find gold and riches. So we have some major explorers that are responsible for the Florida area. First, we have Juan Ponce de Leon, who comes in 1513. His primary focus, again, is to serve for the king and queen. He is rumor has it what we refer to as youth. No direct evidence of where this is and if he did in fact find it, but he does come to Florida in 1513, looks around, sees all the pretty flowers, and goes, Le Florida, the flowers. Florida is now named. So he is responsible for finding and naming Florida in 1513. We later have Panfilio de Narvaez and Nunez Cabeza de Vaca, head of a cow, I believe, and they come over for this second expedition. Cabeza de Vaca is kind of the second-hand man to Narvaez. They kind of explore most of what we consider Florida now. They go up to the northern part, the Panhandle, the western side, and they are attempting to colonize, but it's not very successful. They get into some wars with the Native Americans. They end up splitting into groups, and some people get stranded and almost killed. And then while they're over there, there's this terrible hurricane, a storm, and our first guy, Narvaez, and most of his men are killed during the storm. Cabeza de Vaca actually is able to survive the expedition, and he ends up going back to Spain. And that's kind of the establishment between these two guys. So Narvaez, sorry to pronounce names, he lands in the Tampa Bay area, very unsuccessful in his expedition. Head of a cavalry here, Cabeza de Vaca. He's one of 4 survivors of the expedition, and he does come back later on and speaks to the mistreatment of the Native Americans and how really these Europeans should not be coming over there and trying to take their lands. We next have Hernando de Soto. There's a lot of areas when you go further west in Florida that are named after De Soto. A lot of, again, if you think about the names, we name after the explorers who found them. He ends up traveling the New World. He gets rich from the Native Americans. He's not a very nice guy. He's kind of known for his cruelty towards the native tribes. His main purpose to coming was to find riches and gold. He takes over governor of Cuba for a while. He kind of gets in trouble for mistreating the natives. Not the best guy, but he is known for coming for his exploration. Again, does not in the end find any gold. Kind of a failure. And then our most famous, other than Ponce de Leon, is Pedro Menendez de Aviles. He is the one, the French have come over in our next video, you'll see. The French have come over to try to establish some colonies, and the Spanish are really mad. So the king, King Philip II, sends Menendez over to battle Jean Ribault, who is leading the French to drive out Le Bonheur, who has taken over or has started the Fort Caroline colony. Menendez and Ribault are going to kind of get into a mini battle. And Menendez, when he comes over, establishes what we now know as St. Augustine in 1565. And once they defeat the French, spoiler alert, they establish again. St. Augustine remains in place. The Spanish continue rule over the Florida for the next couple hundred years, and it was because of him. So he's the first governor of Florida, again in St. Augustine. The oldest settlement in America, has lasted over 450 years. He's known for signing the peace treaty between the Calusa to trade gold and the food. He has a decent relationship with the Native Americans in Timucua as well. And again, keeping the rule of Florida in the Spanish hands and not the French, because if not, our history might be a lot different if he did not maintain that. So in the next video, you will learn more about Menendez and the establishment of St. Augustine and the battle with the French.